Good afternoon.
I'm very happy to be here and to meet you all. So when I and Dinesh were discussing a couple of topics, we thought we can talk about networking. Okay. So when I was listening to a few topics on networking in TED Talks, so most of the talks said network is something which people don't want to do. So I was thinking I took a very stupid topic. Okay. So I wanted to start with the research actually of what happened and what is about networking. So this is my session plan to be brief. To start with the research of the top university, that's the Harvard, then few steps to networking, some platforms to networking, and little on community building. Right. So I would love to have that. Just move it here. So as I mentioned, there are two important research materials from Harvard, and this one is the latest, A Better Approach to Networking by Christie, which talks about three important things. What are the main issues that can be handled from networking perspective? So I just put it short like ATP, which we see in science. Similarly here, so the first fundamental she talks about is to ask in networking, right? So the first session which was held here, the moment I came here is to listen to people. So I have a very fair idea that people are there from Geetam, there are from CSC students, there are a lot of startup founders, financial planners, some corporate employees who desire to be future entrepreneurs, right? So when you get an opportunity to meet somebody, it's always preferable to ask more about that particular person. That is the first thing which she mentions in her research, right? Then the second thing which she talks about is start with the talk. From a small talk, keep on moving to deep talks. Like for instance, just now we saw actually Karthik presenting here. So he mentioned a lot about his presentation. So when we are entering any such formats, any such forums like that, it's always better to take some few key words from whatever he spoke, so that next time we talk to Karthik, we have some content with us to discuss. Like he mentioned about rifle carry, and he also mentioned about some countries like Netherlands, Germany, France, and things like that. So it's very, very important for us to pick up something so that we have some content to talk to. So we start with a small talk and then we move to a deep talk, right? Then the third one she says in her research is passion and purpose. Everybody invariably here, the moment they said, you have to speak about yourself. You spoke from what's your name, also mentioned where are you coming from. Some students have mentioned that they're a CSE or MBA from whatever, and some reputed founders from all organizations. And once you go into the deep talk segment, they will definitely be interested to share their passions and purpose. And the moment we this traveling, and almost for 6 months, they were just hanging out. They were doing nothing big, nothing professional. They were just discussing the general things on and off over Zoom, over a couple of coffee and tea, some things like that. But it was a very big surprise for Manu Jain when the co-founder asked him to head the Indian operations. This is what actually networking can do in startup ecosystems. Number one. Second, Vidit and Sanjeev partner. These two people were friends. They were friends. They worked in different organizations. One went to Sony. They also tried with InMobi. But then this connect was there with them throughout for a very long time. So Vidit kept on talking to Sanjeev ki, "Arey, come down, ya kuch karenge." So this contract kept on going for a few years, and ultimately they became co-founders. Okay, here again, right. And in the third example, this Neetu and Kirti, both of them are IITians, and from two different typical states where startup ecosystem for women is unthought of. In gender bias, that will be in the top, Rajasthan and Haryana. Okay, but these two girls have picked up. They have been friends. They also they have a co-founders, male co-founders, and they kept on holding to that friendship and they brought it onto into the business ecosystem, right? And coming to the fourth persons, this is a very interesting thing which I came to know very recently. One of them was already in Stanford. One of them joined. And this what are the names you told? Yeah. So Sergi was a tour guide to Larry. So their friendship began as tour guide. Okay, one of them came at a later stage, but that tour guide became his co-founder after a gap of time. And the final friends, Sri Harsha Majeti and Nandan Reddy. I have listened to Sri Harsha almost on all platforms, every platform possible. because I always have the feeling that BITS Pilani has got some ecosystem. It gave us Funny Sama, it gave us these two people, it gave us, what is his name, Zomato, Dipinder Goyal, many people like that, right? So these two friends, one of them was 2 years senior to the other. Harsha was 2 years senior to this boy. Everywhere, either your alumni or your closest network or your childhood friend, anything there which is there in the network can take you somewhere, but you have to give it time. That is the only thing from this particular slide. So I thought maybe it's a relevant thing because we need to understand what kind of networking aspects do help us professionally to take us to something big. Right. So while I was doing little amount of research on what should I be delivering here, after a couple of books and all that, and from whatever is my personal journey, I thought these are very, very important and fundamental. Right? It's changing here, but it's not changing here. Any problem? Okay. So there are 4 C's I thought are very, very important. Yeah. Take a guess on the 4 C's. There are only 100 C's, I guess, in the dictionary. So 4 C's is very easy. Connecting, very important. Communication, of course. Collaboration, yes. We generally have this C with our friends also. With our families also.
Comments.
Connections, no connections already told. Generally, when 2 people meet, what do?
Chat.
Communication about that.
Chat.
Conversation. Okay. So these 4 are interrelated, and there is nothing like one would take a higher place than the other. 4 of that would automatically happen. Like once you are meeting somebody, if I was in Vizag and I would meet you frequently for maybe the next 10 startup Saturdays here, definitely all the 4 will happen between us, right? Because that is where it will take on the 11th startup Saturday, it will be completely different dimension for those of you who are sitting here and the person who is actually standing here. This is very, very essential. I just want to demonstrate that through one activity. We'll just see that. Okay, so before it works, we'll go to the game. I thought I'll just come to this game a little later. I would prefer all of you to stand. Your pens. Even if you have played this game earlier, you have to play this game, and I know it will be completely different because the audience are different. I would prefer to have 4 volunteers here. Anybody from the startup founders also, not students. Not students. Please help me. The bag is distributed fast so that you can start the game. Extra sheets? Anybody left out without getting it? Okay, so we will quickly start the game. Danesh told me there will be 50 of them here. So I plan for 50 printup. Okay, I'm just guessing there are 50 people here. You have 6 minutes to go. You can just move out of your place. Don't sit with your neighbor. Go to somebody whom you do not know here. Try filling that form. Ask them in groups. Whatever blanks are there, very, very easy to ask. Like for instance, do you have a pet? Ask any random person and fill his name there. Whoever has a pet, please move from your places. Please move. Those who do not have pens, please ask, raise your hand, somebody will help you.
I don't have pen.
Yeah. Ganesh, pen?
Nobody needs pen.
Okay, in the meantime, you can talk to them, get to know their names. In the meantime, please talk to them. Yeah, you need to write their name. नहीं, those whom you know, you should not talk. You have to talk to somebody else. ऐसा नहीं चलेगा यहाँ पे. You 3 people have to move from your places. Please move from your comfort zones. I don't have that. Please ask, speak to as many people as possible. Your name is last. You first talk to people and then write their names. Two people can share one pen. Talk to people. Maybe you can write the names. Try talking to them.
Right. So, do you have pen? No, you don't have. Hamsi girl, do you have pen? What is it?
स्पोर्ट्स आता है ఎవరు స్పోర్ట్స్ ఆడతారా కాలేజ్ స్పోర్ట్స్ స్పోర్ట్స్ ఆడతారు
We just capture what we have. Yeah. Yes.
పేరు చెప్పండి క్లాసెస్ పేరు చేయరు కదా మీరు ఏం చెప్పండి
Yes, of course.
అయ్యండి పాటలు పాడతారా లేదు మామూలు గౌతమ్లు కూడా పాడతారు పేరేంటి వర్మ సార్ వర్మ ఓకే ఇల్లు పిలిచి నార్మల్ రికార్డ్ చేస్తాను రికార్డ్ చేస్తాను You'll call her?
Anyone who has a pet? Anybody's name starts with P here?
Okay, we stop now. Please come back to your places. I know. No, time is up. Please. This is the problem with networking. Once you start, there is no stopping. Thank you so much for your time. Please be seated. Okay, if you please sit, we can.
లైవ్ పెట్టమని వస్తుంది బిడ్డ అది ఆఫీస్ ఇప్పుడు ఫిల్ చేద్దాం
People, professions, I couldn't really catch up with their names. Financial planner, sir. What do you? Whom have you met here? New person, or about new details? What new details have you entered in that? Existing person, new details. Very good combo. Well,
I don't have a clear complete rapport.
oh, okay. Okay.
And two new people.
New people also? Okay, you please say. Mr. Rajapati, whom did you talk to?
I think I met a guy called Mr. Raja
Ganesh, okay. You know something about him now? 1, 2 things?
Yes.
Yeah?
He is born outside Vizag.
Oh.
He does not love playing instruments.
Oh, is it so?
He does not love to sing.
Okay. Next time you meet him, you have something to speak to?
Yes.
Yeah. Please sit. Okay. Right. Geetam BTech and Geetam MBA, both of you. Yeah. Discovered something.
Yes, I have. And,
Yeah.
this person is Hari.
Hari? Who's Hari? Okay.
Proficient in 4 languages.
Oh, okay.
And he traveled.
So we have polyglots in this class. Okay.
He has many qualities.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Isaac, you spoke to me, right? Then we will speak to him. Yeah.
I met Martin.
Martin? Who's Martin? Okay. Yeah.
He loves to eat. I don't know.
He loves to eat everybody. Okay, I'm also with you. Okay, right. Please, sir, you.
I met with
Oh,
met with Mr. Vamsi.
Vamsi? Who's Mr. Vamsi? Oh, you're Mr. Vamsi. Okay.
Ganesh. Mr. Ganesh.
Okay.
Divya.
Okay, right. So anything new you have discovered, or was it an easy task to network? What kind of resistance was there? I have seen only one person, like he said, I am not interested. So let's quit. That is your presenter, Mr. Karthik. He said, I want to quit. Right. Was it easy? Was it fun?
Yes.
Yeah. You have something to talk to when you meet that particular person the next time. Whom did you speak to, sir? Yeah, yourself. Yes, sir. You have spoken to somebody here? No?
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that. That's enough. Just like that. The purpose is just like that only.
As a singer.
Singer? Acha, कौन है? Who? Yeah, we have to plan one concert for you. Here on this platform, we will do that. Okay. Please sit. Both of you, please sit. Girls, women, yeah. Who have you spoken to? Kirti. Okay. What is this? Kirti and you didn't speak to anybody else? Pooja also? Okay. Pujita. Okay. Okay. Right. Thank you very much. This was one of the activity which we actually performed in one networking platform in Hyderabad. Okay, the questions were different. I had customized putting all the startup things, and I was also looking at the Google form as a reference point. Who are all coming here? What should I be asking? Are there only professional questions in that? No. Are there any personal questions in that? No. Any hobby related questions? What? Movies? Musical instrument? Podcast?
Sleeping,
Photography?
sleeping time.
Sleeping times, because I see most of the students night owls. So I want to know whether the founders are also night owls. Okay. Yeah. So this is one way of mixing your professional and personal things to build things. Okay, right. We will stop it here. We'll get back to the presentation. It's okay even if it doesn't work also. Whatever I have, I will deliver. So the next slide is about famous platforms. Right? Anyone into JCI? Make some noise. Yeah, right. JCI, BNI, was. Achha, was. What is this was? I was with BNI, I was with JCI. Okay. Rotarians. Oh, students. Okay, okay. eBay T-shirt. I'm not able to see you in full, sir. I would prefer to you to be here, or I have to change my position. Okay, I will do. Right. Lions International. No. Okay. So these are the 4 platforms actually I kept on the slide. Nothing much. So these are the 4 famous so-called and not so-called networking platforms. One is Rotary. And if students want to start in establishing networks, because that is a, what is it called? The entry point is difficult for students because they always think, what value will I deliver to Mr. Raja Pradeep or Mr. Vamsi or, sir, Mr. eBay, what's your name? Srinivas, sir. Okay. So your name? Sri Krishna. Jai Krishna, right. So if you meet these people, what is it that I can give as a value? Will they be interested to network with a youngster like me? When you have some kind of hesitations like that, you can always start with some organization like Rotary. My student is the Rotary president, Rotractor, I should say, for this district 3020 from, it starts from Vijayanagaram, I guess, to Eluru. I'm not a part of Rotary. I'm not promoting here anything. Okay. Right. So you can start because the fee is also very less, only 200 per month, I guess. It is 1200 annually. You can take part in the session. They do encourage a lot of leadership. So you can try with that. Okay. Second comes Lions International. This is also a service-based organization. I do not know the pricing part and all. But if somebody who wants to kind of bang on charity, you can try that organization as well. And when it comes to the worst JCI, okay. So JCI is one organization which focuses mostly on training. Somebody wants to develop himself or herself as a motivational speaker or want to improve his own public speak platforms, and they connect a lot. Every week, every month, there are a lot of connections, and there is an extended wing of JCI. I think some of you would be definitely know it. There is something called JCOM, right? So the JCOM wing is the business wing where they meet every Tuesday for fellowship and breakfast. And it's mandatory, Tuesday or Thursday, any of those 2 days, they definitely meet. So those of you who are interested, who want to have the local connections here, they can definitely look at the third activity, that is the JCOM. And finally comes the BNI part. So this BNI is a very international organization. So this is where generally all the business people are in. The moment I came to know about BNI, people told me you come here as visitor, be a part of the community. So I went as visitor twice. But the moment I visited the first time and the second time I happened to go there, before I went the second time, I did all the research. What is BNI? BNI also has a podcast, how you can actually do networking with others. What will referral system bring you? What is the easiest way to make business with a small set of community? Then I noticed that there is something called BNI Siliguri. If somebody is interested, you can just browse on Instagram. BNI Siliguri. There are lots of activities, very strong on social media. There is no other BNI chapter in India which is as strong as Siliguri on social media. The same thing I communicated to the local table where I visited, that maybe you should look at promotions like that so that it can bring people. Right? Tanesh, it's working, I guess. Right. So these are the 4 basic slides. Again, it's got stuck. Okay, that's okay. Now, LinkedIn, yesterday, when I wanted to come and talk here, there were two things that were running in my mind. One is who spoke previously, what did they talk about? Okay, these two should not. Yeah. So while I was listening to all the recorded sessions previously, I thought I was only able to see the speaker. I'm not able to see any of you. That is why I wanted to know more, and I floated that Google form. I was looking at that as a reference point. Who is coming to this place is what I wanted to know. There, out of the 28 so-called little number of responses that I have received, only 11 are active on LinkedIn. And among these 11, only 5 are very active on LinkedIn. Okay, so I will talk a little about LinkedIn's professional things. Before 2020, I never looked at LinkedIn as a professional networking platform. Okay, number one. Second thing, in 2020, almost every other day, I took part in a webinar or I gave a webinar because I wanted to completely use the COVID time. During that process, some of the reputed international organizations and ISV in India, they only give you an entry point, even if it is a free webinar, only if you have a LinkedIn profile. Otherwise, you are not allowed to the webinar. They check you there and then only they allow you. You want to pay, you can't go. Okay. Then I slowly realized maybe this is something I have to bank on. So I kept relying on LinkedIn. Initially, what I did was I started commenting on people's posts. And my favorite topic is generally marketing and entrepreneurship. So these are the two hashtags I generally follow. So everywhere there is something about entrepreneurship and marketing. I kept on looking at it, listening carefully. And LinkedIn has given me a lot of advantage because people started looking at my profile. No, I have connections with IAS officers, CEOs, startup ecosystems. Sitting in Rajahmundry, it's not possible. Because for a small town, a person, it is very difficult and you have to push yourself a little more to reach somebody who's sitting in a cosmopolitan place or in a metropolitan place where you have ample amount of opportunity. That's what I mean by this. So you should be looking at LinkedIn. You will have to run your efforts on LinkedIn for at least one strong year. Those of you who are all doing your MBA international business, so-called second year, first year, whosoever. CSE grads, look at it to look at all the ML, AI kind of ventures. Okay, you will get to learn, and not only for professional network. I started with a research from HBR saying one of the important aspects is to learn. I have done a lot of courses on LinkedIn. Till now, I have not paid single rupee. So there are free courses on LinkedIn. You can get to listen to them from the top professors or researchers of the world. So you use LinkedIn, it will take you places, right? The second thing is Discord. The other day, I listened to one particular speech from an entrepreneur from EduMoon. Are they here? EduMoon? No? So when he came, EduMoon, he spoke about something called BlueLearn as one of his competitors. If you have listened to him carefully. I am there on BlueLearn since August last year. I have read in one magazine that BlueLearn is a very important platform where you can learn every single day. So these guys are Bitsians. They have started this particular app called BlueLearn where all students can enroll. Every single day, 365 days of the year, they are conducting sessions from experienced people, from startup founders, from students. It could be on hustle, it could be on coding, various topics are there. I was interested to join because I want to see what kind of activity is going on. And that too with the background that they have, there might be something, I told you initially, that there is something happening there in that ecosystem that pushes people towards that leap of entrepreneurship. Right? So Discord is the second app where you can probably search and you can begin with to learn. Then Clubhouse, so-called Clubhouse. I am not a member of Clubhouse. I have not listened to any Clubhouse, but the way it was getting promoted, you have to be an Apple, all the top people are there, Elon Musk is speaking. Yes, things like that. Probably you can explore that option. But I am there on Mensa. Anyone who has tried Mensa? Mensa is an audio community. It's similar to Clubhouse, local, made in India. Okay. So Mensa, I came to know through when I was browsing Spotify that there is something also called Mensa. So I listened to a few sessions on Mensa. Series of topics are there like podcasts, but the beauty is you can actually join it through audio. You can join, you can share, you can listen, you can talk, whatever you want to do. You will never know where you will take that contact, what advantage you can take out of that particular network. And the Mensa CEO, whatever he posts, I'll keep commenting. Second thing, whomever I have listened to earlier, I kept on replying to them on LinkedIn saying, I have listened to this particular session of yours. I like this song, I like this statement, I agree with something to begin with in networking. So I have all those people in my LinkedIn account. Okay, I have put them in my PG. That's a genuine interest. Not that I am putting fake comments, likes, whatever. No, putting a like is the most easiest thing anybody of us can do. But beyond that, how do you take it forward? It's a very big challenge. Okay. So Mensa is something. And one thing about Mensa which I like this, in when you're building communities, like today Karthik was saying, there is one element called subscriptions in their company through the bike rentals. I was looking at it, there is a lot of future for their subscriptions because they are building a community. They are making sale or not at this point is very little, but they are going to build a community out of those subscription. That is how actually all your OTTs banking upon. Similarly, the other day I also saw Edumo talking about the minutes, and now he has built it into a paid model. Yes, very recently they have launched a paid model of Mensa. It is working very well. This was the activity which we did. Right. So before talking about this, I wanted to try it out and see whether it actually works. What are the steps next? Right. Going back. So I have just kept few steps for beginners. One is your presence. Generally, they say no visibility. You are appearing at an event or you are just meeting a particular person 10, 20 times, various occasions. Definitely, they'll get to know. They'll get to see you. Why I have kept this presence as a first point is I'm a consultant. I keep talking to a lot of small size entrepreneurs in and around Rajahmundry. I'll do consulting offline and online also. One particular client of mine undermined the importance of BNI for some time and he kept on sending his employee. Okay? So the employee made a business out of that. She started her own venture. Okay, it's not a joke, it is the truth. If you have to go, you be there. Please don't bank on somebody. It is not your company's visibility that you are increasing, it is your visibility. Okay, tomorrow if I think about Astra, I'll be thinking about these three people who have come here. I'll not think about Astra because that is very intangible thing to me. You are giving your brand a tangible element through your presence. So your presence is what is very, very important. Right? Second thing is listen carefully what people are saying. If you have that genuine interest of whatever field you are, like yesterday in the Google form, many people have written, I want to learn more about networking. I want to take this advantage into networking. So when you're coming here, probably in the next few times when you're coming here, whomever you have met today, whomever you have played game with today, ask something to them on the same lines. You will make deeper friendships. Only when you make that friendship and when you improve that credibility factor is business going to come to you. Just like that, it will not come. It might come through your promotions, otherwise in marketing. But otherwise through networking, this is where it can actually take you. Then your homework. So for instance, from the Google form that I got, I already connected with few people on LinkedIn yesterday itself because they already shared their LinkedIn details there. So I sent them one connect reply. They also texted to me. One of them was very kind. He mentioned, ma'am, I can't attend your session today, but we'll keep connected with this particular platform. So every time you're getting a chance, do utilize that particular thing and you do homework. Whom are you meeting? What is his interest or what is his alumni background? It might help you or take you somewhere. Then of course, social media, you have lot of chance today. Somebody whom you have met here, maybe you can take their Instagram profile, for instance, or FB ID if you are very strong on FB. Just look at his or her background. What are her interests? What is her interest? Then you can, if you have some similar interests, maybe it might be a chance that you both might be having some familiar interests like sports. Today, whatever you did in non-professional things, photography, sports, you mentioned pet, food, anything like that. Then comes your interest. This interest is what I was talking about, the non-professional things also. Always a professional thing might not take you somewhere, but a non-professional interest might put 2-3 people together, right? Finally, please look at time. If you give time, then only this will happen. It's not like you meet them once or twice and it is going to happen. So I also brought you places where you can actually do. So one is the event. It can be any kind of event. Tomorrow, in this Alvardas grounds, I guess, MVP, there is one event happening of Vizag Chamber of Commerce. One of my client and I were supposed to be there tomorrow, so only my client is coming because I am tied up with 2 other events in my town. This is a Vizag Chamber of Commerce event. So it's a business event. You go there, you might get somebody new. It's an entrepreneurship ecosystem. Don't look at an exhibition that it's meant for women. It's a place where entrepreneurship is getting encouraged. So don't lose any chance. Look at conferences which are having happening here. Like one of the person, आपने कुछ कहा था ना sir, Vizag startup events, Vizag startups. So is there a place?
It's a local community.
Okay.
Where startups interact with each other, connect with each other.
Okay. So maybe you can go to such kind of place. So I guess half of you are already part of that. So some of you can try. Alumni events, don't please ignore those events. Those are going to give you the best connections. Then open house and visitors meet. I'll show you in a while what I mean by these two things. So I mentioned to you about the visitors meet that I went to the JCOM visitors meets and the BNI visitors meet. I got to meet a lot of friends there. I have understood in those 2 meets what are all people doing, and I'm very particular on taking notes. If somebody is talking something, I would have had my notes by the end of that particular session. My notes is pakka. Who is speaking? What is he speaking? What are the keywords he or she is uttering? What is his main agenda? What is he looking for in that particular forum? Okay. Now, there are 2 places where I have been very recently in 2022. One is actually this program is a combination of Wiki Flow and We Hub at Telangana. They keep doing lot of open house events, and once I signed up for their newsletter. So I wanted to enroll in one of the programs, which was a paid program. That program never happened, but they have my contact. So whoever is there in that particular platform, they keep sending the messages that we are having this program. So Meta, Wikiflow and We Hub came together to do this meet where I had got an opportunity to speak. Okay, so you go there. You never know what is going to happen unless you go there physically. Be there, listen to people, show some genuine interest. Okay, next. Okay, the next slide is about T-Hub. Like we have the hub. There's a T-Hub there in Hyderabad. Very recently, I think in December, I went to an open house. I kept it in the previous slide. It's an open house in T-Hub. I wanted to go from long time and see. I just went and sat there I had no agenda. But after the entire thing, when I was talking to few friends, a lot of students came to me. They discussed their ideas. Ma'am, this is what we are planning to do. This is what we need support. One of the boys had built a drone. Somebody is doing business with as simple as Tatamunjulu. You know that ice apples? Yeah. He said, Memu ma orange teeskochi, we are bringing that from here and we are selling here. He's a student. At a student stage, he's trying to try his twist with entrepreneurship. Okay. So I met very interesting people there. Listen to a lot of pitches like today, one pitch we could listen to. So open houses are one place which you can't afford to miss. You never know what is going to land up in your kitty. Then this is Mirage. There is a place called Adventure Park in Hyderabad. Now they are charging 75 rupees per session. This Mirage is a Stanford grad who has started his own startup incubator called Adventure Park. Most of it, they are supporting the girls and boys from the Muslim community. They do business showers. Even otherwise also they can go and take part. So while I was browsing during one time when I was attending some other event, I thought if there is any other, I will catch up. This is one event I went. They are doing a lot of work. There are medicine students who are building fintech prototypes. Okay, medicine students working in fintech space. There are a lot of people working otherwise also. In the business charts, there are people who are working with sanitary pads. There are people who are doing home baking, artificial jewelry, lot of things like that. So these are essentially two startup ecosystem enablers I could take part in. Maybe there are a lot of other things happening in Vizag which you shouldn't be missing out. Okay, right. So before the slide comes, I'll talk. I'm an alumni of NIT Tiruchirappalli. I have done my MBA from there. So 2 years back, they had posted on LinkedIn again, saying that if you want to be a mentor to the women who are studying here, and if you are a woman alumni, please apply to this. Without any further thoughts, I applied. Now here I want to say something. See, when you're a student of a particular school or a college, when you don't have very big name in the college, when you're an average student in the college, some people might think, what is it that I'll contribute to my institute earlier? Because I'm not so very famous there. Don't think like that. Now they're all bachas. Whatever you can contribute is things you only can contribute. Go back to your alumni. There might be a lot of people who are looking. So there were 2 students assigned to me. I'm glad one of them could make it in ExxonMobil. one of them completed her Goldman Sachs internship. But I learned a lot because one student who was from this Madras, she told me 10 times we met, she was telling 10 different ambitions. I want to get into US, I want to do this. I was confused whether I can do something for her. Ultimately, I asked, you tell me one deliverable which I can give you as a mentor. She said, I want Goldman Sachs internship. We struggled for half an hour, sat on the internet. I shared the screen with her, opened Goldman Sachs website. We saw that there are internships open for engineering students in finance. Okay, she thought that was very interesting. She finished it off within weeks' time. So that is how I am able to proudly claim she finished. There was the other student, even though the top institute was there, she's a member of Toastmasters. But then she said, no, I'm unable to practice on interviews. You help me with that. I helped her. She cracked ExxonMobil. You all can do that. Within your own alumni sets, you can guide your so-called batchmates, juniors, sub-juniors, whatever. And second thing is the Leap Club. This game I played in Leap Club. Leap Club is an online organization for women. Okay, they charge 6,000 annually. They are conducting lot of events in Metropole. Like in Bangalore, 2-3 days back, they conducted a Leap affair also. That means it's a fair for all the Leap members. So you have lot of potential to sell your products there. Maybe if you are a member of such organizations, you can put up your stalls there also. Then this is something very, very, very fresh on LinkedIn, Incubate. So one of the member asked me in the forms that I want to get some funding suggestions and things like that. This is Incubate is a networking platform for women, which is mostly focusing on funding. No, they want to give funds to those companies which are women-based organizations and things like that, or have found that women are facing some kind of crunches in getting the funding. So Incubate is one. But one thing why I brought Incubate to this platform is the interviews that Diksha Ahuja is conducting with the members is actually very awesome. She's digging out a lot of insights from various people on networking and what you can actually do about networking. This is about these three organizations. Then regarding the community building, this is also one aspect we had to talk about here. I have started building my own community in Rajahmundry, which is called the Business Entrepreneurs Club. So when I just floated my pamphlet, people asked me, are you competing with JCOM locally? What is your ambition? I said, I don't have any ambitions of competing with anybody because their businesses are at a different scale. Right? Like I told initially, a student can't think of talking or networking with an entrepreneur very easily because he or she thinks what value I will deliver. Right? So in this club, what I have thought is, I have been working with startups, guiding some students since 2013, and I have been kind of crazy about entrepreneurship since that time. So I brought into this all those things which I have found as gaps. Rural students, rural aspirants who have big ambitions but can't make it big. Number one. Existing entrepreneurs who do not know where to go for. If it is a city like Hyderabad, probably they would know who's a business consultant or a management consultant. They can go and ask or seek their help. But here there is no chance. Right. So when I started with 5 members. We started in the month of September 2022. Now I have 18 members with me. 18 only, but I am building it. So why I am talking about community building here is, like I mentioned the example of Karthik's subscriptions part, EduMoon, the community of people. You also in your website, some of you have mentioned in the Google form that you have websites. You start a newsletter. While I was traveling here, I was listening to one interview about a company called Grow. GROWW. Grow, right? It's a very important fintech startup now. They have started their own community building through a newsletter, and that is called Grow Digest. That is free of cost. You just go to that, you will get ample advice on finance and whatever, but they are building a community through that. So what I mean by community building is, you can use your own newsletter. If you have a set of customers, try maintaining the database from day one. It actually helps at a later point in time when you are stuck. They will be your reference point to guide you on your business because they have tasted your product or service. So if you are looking at a long-term business, community building is something which you should definitely be thinking, right, with this number of clients that you have. I was also surprised after the presentation of Karthik, they mentioned that they have initially they are looking at 15 number. Yeah, it's over. So we're almost there, right? So Initially, they are thinking about 50 by 2026. They're talking about crores and whatever. And he also mentioned very clear. His ask was very clear. 20. What? What did he ask? Yeah, 20 crores, right? So that actually registered in my mind because one of my clients is looking for some EV partner where he can invest. Okay, so that immediately stuck to me. Acha, I can connect both. I don't know whether it will materialize or not. I don't know anything, right? But that ask is very, very clear from their company. So whenever you're going, sometimes probably you have to ask very clearly, right? So what have I done with my networks is in Indian Oil, when I joined in Hyderabad, I had no clue about sales. I was the only woman for almost 10 years in marketing in Indian Oil in Hyderabad. So I had to take somebody's help. I looked at the pump attendants. I called all of them to a very famous place called Gokul Chaat, which is very famous for snacks. So I took the help of pump attendants. I conducted a basic pair of research and I took all the inputs to what I should be doing in the next few months in Hyderabad in marketing. And they were my biggest support system at that point in time in sales. So what I'm talking is nobody is a small aspect in a network. And now because I have very good strong database of students with me because I worked in teaching also, I'm asking them for reverse mentoring. My students are in Australia, Paris, UK, many countries like that, and also in IIM. I'm not looking at their backgrounds, but I know what I have delivered in class, so they know what they have to deliver to me in my class. So I'm taking their reverse mentoring help for my consulting, right? So thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Danesh and CEO of AHA. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, 2 minutes Q&A.
2 minutes for Q&A, please. You can go on with your questions for 2 minutes. Anyone is interested?
Basically, the first action point is first action point, how do we start building a community if we want to build a
What are you working in? What is your area?
traveling?
Traveling. Have you started business?
Yeah.
You have a number of clients 10, 15, 20, 100, what?
Around 500 to 1000.
500 to 1000. You have an email system? Start that. Thank them first for being your customer because they can be customers of anybody else also. They can be customer of anybody else also, but they chose to be with you. They are showing their patronage. I have in my inbox of all the social media so-called digital marketing people. I have not removed it because I wanted to see how they are doing their email marketing. You have every week you have some message from the top digital marketers in India. If you are just signing up for any of the programs, they are constantly using the email database. It's a very important starting point. That's very important. Or you can just load 2 questions questionnaire. What was your experience with us? Okay, their name, what's that, and that. That can be your starting point. But you can't afford to lose on the 500 because they have a fresh experience. With what's your name of the company? Praxon, right? So with you, they have a fresh experience, which they might forget after some time, or they might move to a new customer later. So you have to leverage on that. That's the fundamental thing that you can. Yeah.
The networking part in a stipulated time.
Where are you from? What are you studying?
My third year
Mulai College. Do you have any student clubs in campus? Rotaract. Be a part of that.
Yes, sir.
You are? Okay. Right.
Like my question is, like if there is an event for 2 hours and if you try to make rapport with somebody, you end up spending some 30 minutes. Maybe in that meantime, there maybe few guests leaving out, or maybe you.
You asked a very valid question at a very important time. The number is not important in networking, but the person is very important. If there are thousands, if you are able to make one contact, that's important. Okay. I was overhearing somebody talking here that there was a presentation of one person yesterday. That was the only presentation. That means that person had got a lot of influence in influencing the entire ecosystem, right? So you have to look at that potential person. There might be 100 odd people waiting there, but if that person is able to give you a lift, if you are able to give him value, try to be in touch with only one person. You might, because you are part of the community, you will have ample chances. Once in a month you will meet, or once in 15 days you might be meeting. You take that advantage to talk with other people and network with other people. That can be a starting point, because if you aim for too many things, you will end up having none.
Yeah, and another part is like you network. Still can have friends with and we network. And today I'll talk, but tomorrow it's the same case. Like I may not talk to you again. Keep up that connection.
If you are on social media, build a traffic. That's the easiest and most easy. Yeah, because you know, if it is a youngster like you, obviously they'll be on Instagram, right? So they'll be putting some post. You will know whether he's interested in photography or food. Connect to him over food. That might help.
Yes. Thank you all.
Yeah. So you want my
Only one. Only one question. So, Mr. Saujanya, that's a great session. I appreciate it. See, in the startups, what is actually happening is there is a concept called community to commerce. So that is what all the startups are trending right now. I mean, if I take the example of even the hyper-local startups like Zomato or Swiggy, first they have built the business. Now they are getting into the area of building a community. Now from community they are again going back to commerce, right? So I will ask you one question. I will relate it to marketing. So when we actually plan marketing strategies for our products, whether it is e-bikes or millets or various other 9 different products which I deal into, I always define a marketing funnel for it. So when I say marketing funnel, I talk about, creating an awareness, then creating a consideration, then translating the particular consideration into actual purchase. So that particular stepwise process is followed. So when you talk about community to commerce, what are the various 4 or 5 mandatory steps that have to be followed?
First thing, you have to generate a database. Even if it is a small business owner, data is very, very crucial. It is the fundamental. Like you have today, you are building business. You have 50 odd people. You keep the data important. It's very important. You have to maintain it, right? The name and number. What is he into? If you are able to get some analytics, no, that's great. That is number one. Second thing, off late you will be able to know whether he is a potential customer for you or not. You might be meeting this many people, but not maybe none of us are actually buying from you, because you mentioned Patanjali. That's what you said initially, right? So they might not. But when you bring, sometime maybe in such kind of places, there should also be some slots of exhibiting our products. Maybe the e-bike also, maybe our products also. By looking at it, third time we might have an intention to buy. Repeatedly, if you are focusing on one thing or other, definitely they will that will actually do. Then third thing, how you build this community? You build on community for 1 year and then see how it actually takes shape. Because I mentioned time is very, very important. You can't just see, okay, 50 members are there on my WhatsApp group or whatever Telegram group, and how I'm taking leverage out of that. I'm again going back to the first thing which I mentioned in the HBR research. That lady Christie says, you ask, don't say, don't talk about your products, your services, what I'm giving. This is my USP. No, you first ask what is the other person's passion and interest. Maybe from there you can take a thing. That might help. Hope I have answered.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you all. Please scan the QR code for your presence. And now let's have a 10 minutes break for the next.